The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Matthew Darius. I'm the Professional Development Coordinator here at New York ASBO, and I'll be moderating today's call. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping items for you. Today we're using GoToWebinar, and there's several ways you can interact with our speaker today. You can either type your question or comment into the chat window, which is typically on the right-hand side of your screen. There's also a window called Questions. You can type your question in there, and that gives us a way to queue up questions and get them answered for you. Or you can speak to our presenter over the phone. In order to do that, you have had to type in your audio pin into your telephone. Now, the audio pin can be located also on that control panel on the right-hand side of your screen. Click where it says audio. There's a plus sign to maximize it, and you'll just type in the code display there into your phone. And once that's done, you'll be able to speak with the presenter if you have a question in the future. Now, if you want to ask your question over the phone, there is a button on your control panel that looks like a circle with a hand in it, and that's the Raise Your Hand button. Press that button. That'll notify me as the moderator that you want to ask a question over the phone. We will queue you up and then put you through to our speaker today. If you have any questions about these instructions, please feel free to type in the chat or into the question window, and we'll get that answered for you. I'm going to now turn the call over to Deborah Cunningham.
Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure for me to welcome you to today's webinar. I am Deborah Cunningham, Director of Education and Research for the New York State Association of School Business Officials. In this Educational Management Services update, SED staff will take you on a tour of the office webpage and review requirements related to pupil transportation contracts, health and welfare services guidance, a number of enhancements to the Educational Management Services homepage, preliminary budget deadlines, updates on purchasing and textbooks, and an update on submission of reports concerning lawyers who provide legal services to BOCES and school districts pursuant to Education Law 2053. Today's webinar is important in that it's going to help you learn how to maximize resources and improve the quality of the data you submit and stay ahead of the curve on meeting requirements related to the business office. Our presenter is Greg Diefenbach, who has a wealth of experience related to New York State Educational Management Services. Greg has worked in the field of Educational Management Services for 22 years. For the past year, he has served as Associate in School Financial Aid in the State Education Department's Office of Educational Management Services. He has served as a school business administrator, treasurer, and purchasing agent in a number of school districts, including the Saratoga City School District, Middleburg, Burn Knox, Westerlo, Voorheesville, Chatham, and Wynantskill. Greg is a New York State Certified School Business Administrator and a member of New York State ASBO. He's served as a state aid planning specialist at Questar 3 BOCES for 5 years and performed the role of interim school business official in various school districts. He was also an internal auditor and claims auditor for approximately 30 school districts for a year and a half. So Greg, welcome. We appreciate you giving us this information today, and take it away.
Thank you very much, Deborah. Matthew, appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. Greg Diefenbach. Welcome and greetings from 89 Washington Avenue here in downtown Albany. I can see the weather is changing, although today I'm surprised the sun just popped out. I'm looking out the window, the sun's out, and it's getting a little bit warmer. But we can tell down here in Albany, as many of you have been through, or if you haven't, that the weather does change by looking at the food truck vendors that are outside. Usually there's a whole plethora of them now. As today, unfortunately, we only saw one there, so that's telling me winter is upon us. So with that said, I thought it would be a good segue into using the word skating tour, because that's kind of what I'm going to do today, the skating tour. Before I get going, one thing I want to give to everybody, and I'll kind of go over it very slowly. My direct line to my desk, if you have any questions at all, and one of the things I'm going to say a lot during this presentation is, this is a presentation for you, and I need your help to be able to enhance the things we're talking about, which is going to be the website. So feel free at any time to give input, and the way you can get in touch with me directly to my desk is area code 518-402-5665. So again, 518-402-5665. Starting this particular, in fact, this Monday, we just changed our email addresses. We're now on Outlook here at the State Education Department. So my email address would be Greg, G-R-E-G-G, dot, Diefenbach, D as in David, I-E, F as in Frank, E-N, B as in boy, A-C-H, at NYSED.gov. And for that matter, most of the people, everybody here in SED will have the same type of ending, if you will, at NYSED.gov. We're going to be going to the first and last name with a dot in between. Christina, to give you a quick breakup of the department too, those of you who are not aware, Christina Coughlin is the coordinator. She was going to be with us today, but she has to go to another meeting. There's myself, Matthew Riley, who works in the department. He works a little bit more with data, and also he's working heavily with the non-public schools these days. And of course, Suzanne Spear, who's right here in the office that I share an office with, is working here with, of course, BOCES and reorganizations. So I just want to give a little bit of backup on that, who everybody is here. The goal today is to reintroduce the field to the Ed Management Services website and focus on some topics as we go. I have it up on my screen. To get there would be www.p12.nysed.gov, /MGTSERV. So that way you can get onto the site. Maybe you might want to set it up as a favorite. The Ed Management Services website has been available for a long time, as long as I've been in the business, and it's a very strong site to work off of. What we're trying to do today is take the site and bring it a little bit further into to where we need to be today, because there's so much changes. The biggest goal that we have here is to be able to keep up to date with all the information, but we want this to be available to you so that you have a resource, another additional resource that would be timely and up to date. So at this point, what I'd like to do is probably start going right through it, and I'm going to curse it down, if you will, a little bit. And if you notice on the Ed Management Services homepage, there's a section called Latest Information after the descriptive of the agency here. One thing I know that's probably on everybody's mind, and I'll click it right away, is underneath Latest Information, and that is what we're going to have as Latest Information, is everybody's interested in what's going on with the tax freeze. And there's a lot of things that we ourselves are waiting for guidance from Division of Budget. The one thing that we got last week at a meeting with Division of Budget is they set up a dedicated email address. You can see that right there. It's taxfreeze@budget.ny.gov. At this point in time, that's the best we can tell you. If you have any questions at all, we recommend that you go on and send your questions to this dedicated email address. It goes directly to the Division of Budget. As far as anything further guidance coming out, that's really all we have at this point in time. So that's something we'll just bring to your attention. So as you can see, latest information, those are the type of things we're going to try to keep you all up to date with. The next thing down on the line is the budget deadlines for 2015. So we have that posted up because I'm sure everybody is full into, if not, will be full into developing their budgets for the coming year. So we want to get the budget deadlines out so everybody can start looking at dates that are due for the school budget, as well as the administrative salary cap, property tax card, and if need be, the revotes and whatnot. So we want to bring that to your attention here today. Again, the big emphasis is the latest information. This stuff is the most latest and the current information. We recently came out with indirect costs for school districts and BOCES to have. As everybody knows, the indirect costs are defined as central administrative costs and certain other organization-wide costs that are incurred in connection with a grant. So we have them here. just so you know, these particular rates are done here annually by Grants Finance. For the school districts, the information that the actual rates themselves are a result of information that's reported on the ST3, and for BOCES, that information comes from the SA111, and that's how they are able to generate these particular numbers. There's more information, again, within the SED homepage itself that explains a little bit more on indirect costs, but at least we wanted to give you this information that you had available to you right now. The next thing down is, I'm not going to go really into it, it's the property tax freeze credit. This is the original guidance that came out from the Office of the Division of Budget. So it really, again, this I think everybody has read over time and time again. I know everybody's looking for a little bit additional guidance, but this is nonetheless up there. A lot of the information you see on this particular section will come and go over a period of time. I mean, if you go down, I'm not going to go any further down. The rest you can see some of the information is already dated, but we want it available. That will probably cycle out into another section within the home page itself, which I'll point out later on. And the other information that's on the bottom, again, a little bit older information, but nonetheless important information to have available to you. One of the things now here, I'm going to say it for the first time, I'll probably say it a bunch more. Look at the website, please. If you see anything on there that you think can be changed, updated, enhanced, we're here. This is really your home page. We want this information to be ready and available to you. So please let me know if there is anything that you see on there that can make it better or enhance it, because again, I can't say it enough. This is really your home page. We're just trying to get the right information out to you. All right, I'm going to show you some things, like I said, the skating tour, and then we're going to stop a few places. If you look on the left-hand column, I have my cursor over education law. That's new to the home page, and what we want to do is give instant access to the field and any questions they may have. So if you click on that education law, hopefully it comes up. It's going slow on my end. It will give you access, as you can see, to the various education law citings that you may need, you know, on the spur of the moment, if you will. That is a new addition. The next thing down is frequently asked questions. That's another thing. Again, I'm going to say it. If you have any questions, and if you do have some preliminary answers too, let us know. We wanted to set up an FAQ section, and we did. This is our first one that came through to us. I had to do with both booster clubs. We can click on that. A question was asked recently, do fundraising regulations apply to booster clubs in the district? We cited the actual a commissioner's decision and put in some information too regarding the fact that the booster clubs is not part of or falls underneath the school district's umbrella. These are the things we want to build up, because these are the questions and answers you have in the field all the time. We're hoping that as things unfold with the tax freeze, not only will we get guidance, but I'm going to try to see if we can get the questions and answers that are coming out, the questions and the answers, and be able to enhance this. So this will be put together in a structured way, alphabetically, so you don't have to go all through it and start looking through every single Q&A. We hope to have it built up so that it'll be in some sort of sensible order for you to take a look at. The next one down, which I'm going to come back to, also is new. It's Health and Welfare Services. I'll come back to that in a minute. New York Code Rules and Regulations. We just wanted to give you an opportunity to get to something quickly. If you want to look at Commissioner's Regs, any other laws, municipal laws, etc., we want to give you a quick access to that so you can get that. Again, right below that, also new to the website, is the SAMS portal. So if you're on our website and you want to go to the portal, it's right there for you to have too as well. The next couple down, the New York State property tax freeze credit. Again, embedded with that is information on the guidance that originally came out. And you can see this is something that we have to keep up with. It's embedded within the property tax cap information. By the way, that information will be enhanced and updated shortly. Everybody's aware that regarding the property tax report card, your entries are done on SAMs. So we'll be looking in the next month of any enhancements on the report card itself. Of course, we're going to wait and see what comes out from the executive to see if there's any changes that we need to make on the report card. I will tell you this past year, there was some difficulties in the field in discerning how entries worked, and that's common. We're going to try to do what we can to make it a little bit more user-friendly and easier to work with. So we're looking at that, but we're going to have to look at that in conjunction with what comes out from the executive themselves. Going further down the property tax report card, we just went over that section. As you can see, if you go into the sections, there's a lot of information in there. That's why we're trying to work on that, update it, and try to streamline it as much as possible. So your input is very important, to say the least. Next thing now would be the Region State proposal. We'll be looking at that coming out shortly. The school administrative salary disclosure, again, we'll be updating that shortly, so that's still in there from last year. This last item here, the streamlining school district planning reporting, I really suggest people take a look at that. The SRR is a good tool for you to have. I'll kind of click on it right here. What it gives you is the dates and, let's see, current due dates of various reports that need to be generated by your school if it pertains to you. It kind of tells you a little bit of background information as well as the actual program officers that are responsible for it. This is updated annually, usually during the summer. So just wanted to let you know that that's something that we try to keep updated. It's a tool when I was in the field that I wasn't really aware of myself, and now I see myself going to it quite often to get up to date as to what reports are out there and are being required to get done. Let me go back to the health and welfare services. I'm going to click on that for a minute. That's a new icon there. Why it's holding its own as an icon is because there was a lot of questions regarding the health and welfare services as it pertains to Education Law 912. And because there were so many questions, we felt we're going to put it there as an icon. Eventually it may move off and just go into its own section. The three things we wanted to bring across to the field here, as you can see down on the bottom, there's 3 bullets. One is the guidance, which I'll go over in a minute. I'm going to click on the next thing down. It's a sample contract for the health and welfare service, which you all know are the agreements that you have between for this non-public school children that come in from another school, just your billing methodology. Again, we are going to stress that this is just a sample contract. You know, obviously at the end of the day, you really should talk to your local council and get it done correctly. But again, this is something we just want to at least give you a first shot as to what samples will be. That's one of the things we want to do with this website too. Aside from just giving you definitions and guidance, we'd like to be able to give you a tool to walk away with so that you can actually see how we're suggesting you may want to do it. By no means is this the be-all, end-all. Again, I suggest that you would talk to council as well. And then right below that, we show you a sample board resolution that you may want to consider for use when you get involved with the health and welfare services. The guidance itself is basically a compilation of the education law citings, as well as showing you towards the end the billing. We showed the billing. Where the questions have come up primarily in this area had to do with how do you actually calculate the health and welfare charges to another school district. And basically, the question really came down to the numerator and the denominator. And there is a citing in education law, and there also is commissioner's decisions that basically have outlined that in order to be able to come up with the formula you have to look at all of the students in your school district, including the private schools. So that would be basically your denominator. And your numerator obviously would be the cost of your services, and that's defined pretty well in education law and in our guidance as well. So we just wanted to have that in there. I know there was a lot of questions regarding how that works. We spent a lot of time with our health unit here, as well as various other program offices, to be able to pull this together so people have a better understanding on how the actual process works. Again, I'm sure people will have questions at the end of the day. I'm here alone right now, so I can do my best to answer questions, but what I want to do, and I'll go back to saying it again, any questions that you may have regarding today's presentation, get them to, you can put the questions in, I'm going to get them, and I will put the answers back out to the field a couple of ways, but the one way I'm going to do it is going to put it back on our homepage on latest information. That way I can make sure you're all going to go back there and take a look at that page, because it's really important to do that, to say the least. So there's a lot of information we can spend a lot of time today doing, but I figured let me just keep moving along at this juncture with the time that we have. I just want to be able to hit everything that we possibly can. If you look at the top, right in this where it says Ed Management Services, the first thing you'll come upon is BOCES. And this information that's here is very much so up to date, except for one, which I'll point out. Again, it's not only here for the BOCES themselves, but it's for you as the school district to take a look at. I'll click on one thing right away, is the BOCES report cards. I don't know how many people take a look at that, but this is something that's produced by the BOCES annually. It's a big thing that we do here. It's a big chunk of the time that I work on, quite honestly, because we're dealing with a lot of different data sets, and as is the BOCES, in order to produce this report card so they can have it ready for their annual meetings. But it's good information for the field to have. I'll click on the latest one. I'll just use Albany-Schoharie just for theirs, just to give you an idea. And here's the report card itself. And embedded within it, I'm not going to go through the whole thing with you all, but you can see is a lot of data that you can pull out that you may want to be up to date about your local BOCES. So just want to be able to bring that to your attention that you have right there. So we'll shut this down. The BOCES, the next thing I want to do is the budget information too. I think this is important for school districts and BOCES to have available. If you click on this, and this may take a few minutes here, you'll be able to go to all the BOCES throughout New York State and be able to see what the budgets are for the BOCES, broken out by the different areas, whether it be CTE, administrative, capital, etc. And you can see right here, it just came up for me. We have it broken down. This is the backup data. If you go to the summary, you can see it'll break it down by program, per pupil, capital, etc., and gives you a total budget as well. So information to have. Again, we keep this up. We try to keep this up as current as possible. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. That is available to you to take a look at. So enrollment data, that's the one area we need to get updated. We need to basically be able to crunch the numbers. But you can see it gives you enrollment by county, supervisory district, and or components. So that's available to the school districts there. We're going to the fall 2012, as you can see, we just have the county one done. We're in the process of getting the supervisory districts and components up to date as well. And then before we know it, we'll be needing to get the 2013 ones up and running. So we're working on that to try to get that to where it needs to be soon. The rest of the information in there, I'll allow you to just go through, take a look at. Again, like I said, there's a lot here. Give us input. Let us know if you see anything else that we could put out there and report to you that would help you out in your day-to-day. The next icon is C3, Contracts for Excellence. I won't go through all the details here, but you can see there's a whole host of information available to school districts on the C4E right here on the icon itself. The next one is the budget, district budget data, and this is something that we're trying to get a little bit more robust and a little bit more information on. Some of the things that I can see right off the front when I look at this is, you know, GASB 54, well, we're moving to the next level of GASB, so we're going to need to get some more information on GASB up there, and that will be forthcoming. Some of the things I will point out to you, we do have up top the accounting changes that affected school districts, as you can see. Mostly all of us are aware of this already, but anything that's new there, we'll try to place in there. The administrative salary cap, it's on the home front page, but this is where it's eventually going to reside. So that's why I say, as it becomes stale or older, it's going to reside itself over here, so you can always get back to it. Budget results is available for school districts. And again, I'll kind of hit on this quickly so people can see statewide how the budget results were. We also have, I didn't click on that particular one, the budget defeats and revotes, how they actually worked as well. It's taking its time, so there it is right here. So we have that available to you as well. We also show the 60% for those school districts that went the direction of trying to get a supermajority. So we want to have all this information at your fingertips so that you have it available if need be. We can go right on down the list here. One of the things, other budget information, I'm going to click on it now. As you can see on this particular section, there's a lot of information here. One of the things that we've done already, we've put together a committee at one juncture to help us with a particular document, which I'll talk about in a minute. And that's one of the things that we're going to try to continue to do here at SED, is work with small committees. And so if there's something that you see that needs to be changed or updated, let us know. If there's something that if you would like to be involved in the committee down the road, if and when one becomes is set up, just let me know that too. And if there's a particular area that you have an interest in, because again, the best information that we can get sometimes, or I should say most of the time, is from the field. And we want to be able to utilize your knowledge out in the field to help us get the right information out there. But you can see right here, there's a lot of information. We have a budgeting handbook in there. There's a lot of good information. We could probably spend some time just doing a webinar just on this one section. But again, today's goal is to just kind of bring you on a guided tour, if you will, of what is actually in and available to school districts itself. The next one is our district, the district management services, and this section truly is a full day. Is a full webinar in itself. If you go right to the top, we have a section on accounting and auditing. As you can see, there is a lot of information there. Some of the information there may be a little dated and need updating, but nonetheless, I think a lot of it does pertain to today, so you have at least some good guidance as you move forward. And right on through. So the accounting piece is obviously very important to school districts. I think it's very good, strong guidance. And the only thing that really jumps out at me right now is the GASB section, which I know is ever-changing. So we'll be looking at that as we go ahead. As I said, if you come down the side here, there's a lot on budgeting. We just kind of took a look at that as well. I'll point out a couple of things and stop here. We talked about the attorney reporting 2053. As you can see by clicking on it, it's not there yet. I had conversations with Christina and Chuck, and that section we plan on having up and running hopefully within the next month to 2 months, if not sooner. We know it's something that people have been looking for. What we recommend you do at this point is keep the data, okay? I mean, I'm sure everybody has, or if you haven't, keep the data you have on the attorney's information that you have retained, and just keep that on file so that when this does come up, it's going to be available to you. Again, I have to see how it's going to actually be broken out. I don't know if it's going to be in the old fashion or not, but the goal was to get our data people to get this thing up and running within the next couple of months. We were hoping to have it up for today, actually, but unfortunately a lot of things have come our direction, and we just haven't been able to get to that point. But rest assured, that will be forthcoming down the line. The district clerks I'm going to point right now only because we have a very, very good guidance manual. I'm going to click on it right now. That has been reviewed by various district clerks throughout the state of New York, as well as ourselves for input. And it is a document that was revised in May 2012. But as you'll see, and again I clicked on it's going a little slow today, that we've actually looked at it, and here it is. If you look on here, it was reviewed August 2014 to make sure the content was correct and timely. So I think it's a good document for you to have available to you, and I strongly recommend taking a look at that as well. Again, we can go through every section here, piece by piece. Internal controls, that is something that's very big to us here. We're going to do what we can to really take the information that's very, very good that's here and try to enhance that. That may be something that we may look at a committee to do down the road to help us work on getting good, strong internal controls, best practices out there for school districts and BOCES. So I point that out. Of course, payroll, you know, we give some basic guidance in here. We're going to try to take a look at that and kind of get that updated a little bit more as well. Purchasing, again, we could spend, like I said, a lot of time doing all this information for you. But my biggest goal today was just to bring it to your attention so you can see what is in fact out there. So district organization I'll hit upon next. I work here in the office with Suzanne Spear, in addition to working with the BOCES, which she does. District reorganizations is becoming, we're getting a lot more, we're getting a little bit busier here with school districts in this particular vein. We just want to bring it to your attention, the information that's out there onto how the whys, the wheres, and whatnot. At the end of the day, this information is to give you a start. Obviously, making phone calls to us, to Suzanne, is where you want to really go to get the information that pertains to you, in particular if this is something that's in the horizon. One of the things I thought was kind of interesting, I pointed out, again, didn't really see it when I was in the field, is the master plan. It's right on the bottom. So if you want to get an idea of your particular school district and what the master plan that was designed, how the school districts were to be consolidated and how they actually have formulated to where they are today, I think you'd find it quite kind of interesting. You know, one of the things that's interesting, if you go back to the late 1800s, there was 11,000 school districts in the state of New York. And you look at it today, it just goes part and parcel with the master plan to show you how things were kind of revamped as you went forward. But I think it's more historical. It's very informational. It's a good discussion piece to have with people about your school districts. We want to talk a little bit about pupil transportation, and there's a couple of things I'm going to hit upon when we go here. First of all, here in Ed Management Services, we have a group of people, there's 3 people, Bill Dembski, Tim Newberry, and we just recently brought on board Sharon Osterhout. Their phone number is 474-6541. They work direct primarily with contract transportation. And one of the things I've worked with them quite a bit since I've been here is the RFP process. And so therefore, I've been able to see firsthand where some of the problems were regarding what was happening with the process of approvals for RFPs. And I want to go right to this one section, and I'll go through this section, this whole area again. When you look at the contracts, I'm going to click on it now. I suggest to anybody and everybody who uses contract transportation to take a look at what I'm going to click on now, and it's basically the 10 most the 10 biggest areas where you make mistakes. And if you look at the process, I can tell you firsthand, because when I was doing the RFPs, these came out, and it seems simple enough, but they were the things that cause school districts not to get initial approval, and sometimes, not at this juncture, but could cause them not to get approval, period. If you look at, under number 1, there's a bunch of bullet marks, if you will. I can simply say, read this. It's very important, and if you have further questions, call Bill Dembski. Certainly you can call me. I'll facilitate the phone call. But where it seems the biggest problems when I was looking at the RFPs is that there is a requirement, and you can see it's the 4th bullet down, that you have to put a point system. And it's a criteria that has to be followed closely. And not only does it have to be done by a small group of, if you will, individuals in the school district to be able to figure out the point values, but it also has to be published. You have to publish in a newspaper the criteria, the 10 criteria, the point values you're putting next to them, and in addition to just all the aspects of the bid or RFP itself. I think I saw, and I should say think, I know there was unfortunately quite a few instances where people did all the right, they did their due diligence, but when it came to the advertising piece, that was missing. So take a good look at this particular section to make sure that all these things are being covered when you do any sort of contract transportation, whether it be for one contract or 17 contracts, whether it be for sports runs, whether it be for door-to-door daily runs, special ed, etc. You have to do a certain process. And again, ask the questions. If you have any questions, email us. Again, I'm here. I don't work directly in that area, but I'll be happy to facilitate anything I can. But Bill Dembski has been here a long time, as has Tim Newberry, and they have a tremendous amount of information to be able to share with you. They said to me before I present today, let people know, please call them and ask questions. So I'm not going to go into too great a detail except point out those points. You know, the 2 things that I see that were problematic for school districts this year. We're starting to get in a bunch more now, and we'll be getting more soon. So I just want to let you know that that's out there and available to you. When I talked to the school districts in question who had some difficulties, they themselves even said that they weren't aware that this information was there. A lot of people are new, and there's a lot of changes out there, so I think it's very good information to have available to you. One of the things that I thought would be good to have available to the field, just being a former business official, I'm always looking for information on transportation aid ratio. So within the pupil transportation homepage, we went out and we decided to put in there both the transportation aid ratios, 13-14 aid year, and also the non-allowable pupil decimals. So we have them out there for you, so if you want something, a quick reference for the school districts, and then we also put your non-allowable pupil decimal out there for you too. We thought it'd be a good icon to have out there for school districts for quick reference, because everybody needs obviously quick information when they're actually working in the field and whatnot. So the next section I would like to look at, and I'm just going to kind of click here. Okay, there's a little box over here, and if you take a look at the box, the one thing right here, I'm sure you've all probably taken a look at, but it's sitting here where I do, on a daily basis, not only do I communicate with individuals, school districts, BOCES, legislature on education law, but we do a lot with commissioners and regulations. And one of the things that you have to be aware of is that a lot of things in law, should be aware of it, I think you're all aware of it, when it comes to education law, there are some things that are just a little gray, and unfortunately, until somebody asks the question, it doesn't get that pure clarification. Where you get your pure clarification is in a commissioner's regulation or commissioner's appeal, where a decision is rendered. So this is an area that I think everybody should take a look at and become more aware of as it pertains to practically every aspect of education. I will tell you, since I've been here, there has been a lot of appeals put through, and that's what you sometimes wait to see what the reaction is going to be, so you'll be able to know what the answer is and how the commissioner actually is going to weigh in on this. This leads directly to the next section. We get a lot of phone calls during the course of the day, and there is a site that school districts, individuals, etc., can avail themselves of. We call it the Fraud, Waste, and Abuse Hotline. When people call up and are concerned and have issues, we try to talk to them, and they explain to us. This is one of the areas that not just us, but SED in general has available to school, to individuals, to file comments and for the State Education Department to look into. The next step up from this, and ultimately that's kind of like where I segued into this, would be a 310, what they call a 310 Commissioner's Appeal, and that's basically where you're taking your findings and you're bringing it to the Commissioner for an actual verdict, if you will. As I tell people who are going to go to a 310, it's like going to court. You have to have your facts. The burden of proof is on the person who's making the charges. So it's a big process. But nonetheless, this is a site that basically explains to people how these submissions can be made, if they need to be made, etc. So I just wanted to bring that information to your attention as well. The last box here is just some key NYSED information for school business officials. And again, your input. We appreciate that. If you see something here that you like, great, let us know. If you see something you want to be enhanced. Again, this tool has been here in the State Education Department for quite some time. It's a really good tool. All we're doing now is just trying to work with a very good tool and enhancing it even more and trying to keep it current. So some of the things that I want to go over too that's not right on the home page yet, or pieces of it are. Right now, Education Management Services is working with New York State ASBO collaboratively to try to put together a best practices section, if you will. So we're both working on that together. Please, that's one thing when I first got here, and I know that ASBO is doing it as well. I've sent out information to the local BOCES and some schools. If you have a best practice, even one, just send it to us. I mean, everybody has to have a best practice, at least one, and I'm sure you all have a lot more than that. We would love nothing more than take that and put that on as an icon so school districts can be able to click on it and look at others' best practices. That would enhance not only what you do, but it'll help your counterparts in the field. I think it's very important to do that. There's no question about that. We already went over frequently asked questions, FAQs. I showed you the one before. That's something we really want to enhance. What I hear I'm going to be doing, and we here are going to be doing, as questions come in and we get the answers, certain ones will find their way on there. If you feel there is one that needs to be on there, let us know. We'll be happy to get that on there for your needs. Many times, just going to a site to say, okay, somebody did ask that question. Well, how do they get answered? It's important, and we want to get that in there. I feel bad. There was one thing we did want to get onto the website for today's presentation. I mentioned before we had a small committee come together. You're all familiar with the extra classroom activities guidance manual that's been around. I think it's dated 2008. That's been around a while. We have now updated that, and there are 2 sections in there that need some additional updating, and so therefore it's just not ready for prime time. We didn't want to put it out there until it was. The 2 sections that we're looking at to really enhance in it, as it stands, the guidance is very, very good. It's very strong. But we're looking we're looking towards the tax section. A lot of questions. We all have the questions regarding taxes. A few of the people, or say most of the people who were involved in this particular committee have very strong tax accounting background, and our business officials as well. So we've already enhanced that section, so that section actually is ready to go. The other section is internal controls, and there's a lot of information out there on internal controls. what we're trying to do is trying to discern which is the best of the best to put in there. I think the more I look at it, I think there is a lot of internal controls already embedded within the document itself. So what we may do is try to pull that out and just kind of centralize it so we have a section on internal controls. Other than that, we added some additional tools. If you look at the document, you can see that there is forms in the back to use for various things, for like admissions to a sporting event, etc. We've added a couple, and we've enhanced quite a bit in there too. So that, you can probably rest assured within the next month or so, you'll find that in latest information as a new information piece. Click on that, and of course it'll probably find its way somewhere in the accounting section eventually in our, if you will, the subsets of the home page. But that's going to be a tool that'll be available to you. Again, that's our goal: tools and information for you to have that's timely and informational. So with that being said, I want to just stress again, your questions and comments, we really need them. Anything you can see that we need to enhance here, let us know. We have big shoulders. We know you can't know everything, so we need that input from you. Committees, send me an email if you're interested, and if there's a particular aspect that you'd like to discuss or want to be involved with, be happy to have you on board with us. Our goal is to work with you all as partners and to help you get the best information that we can out there. So at this point, I know we have a full hour. We got a few more minutes to go. Again, Christina sends her regards. She's sorry she couldn't be here. She was pulled into a meeting. Our goal today was really more just to get the information out to you. So I hope you all found this helpful. I think the biggest thing that I was hoping to get out of this, if you can, is a dialogue to say, hey, let us know what you see and what you need us to do to help you do your jobs more effectively and efficiently. So I guess at this point I'll stick around for a few minutes, and if anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer. If I don't have the answer, again, we'll get them to you one way, shape, or form, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Greg.
All right,
that was very informative. Matthew, you have questions?
Yes, I have one question.
Okay.
A question from Carol. She asks, some districts bill for occupational therapists and health and welfare billing. I don't pay for this because I assume these costs would be for special education students only and would be billed on a per-student basis. Am I correct to disallow these expenditures on the numerator, in the numerator?
I'm going to be quite honest with you. I'd rather get a little bit more clarification on that, so let me find that answer out for you, and I'll get back to you on that.
All right, and I have no other questions.
Okay, so
We
if
have a good
anyone
job
has
from Joe
any
Dragone and John
questions,
Rizzo.
if anyone has any questions they'd like to ask of Greg, now is the time. I must say that was very informative, and it's very extensive, the number of areas that Educational Management Services gets involved in. And I must say I am most impressed by the change in the email addresses for SED. I never thought they would do something that actually simplifies something. So I'm very impressed with that. It makes a lot of sense just to do the first and last name with a dot in between and then NYSED back up. So that's wonderful. Now, I also would take this opportunity to invite people to suggest additional webinar topics they would be interested in attending and listening to. Greg continued to mention as he went through the website that you could do a whole webinar on this, and that is certainly the case. So is there information related to purchasing, budgeting, auditing, and accounting, a number of different areas, people transportation, school district reorganization and organization, where you would like to hear, have an entire webinar devoted to that. And also, we have had webinars already on the 2015 Building Conditions Survey, and then an update from the Child Nutrition Office, but there, And in December, we expect to hear from the Office of State Aid an overview of BOCES aid calculations for school districts. But again, from those offices, are there specific things that you would like to hear in a webinar? And then in February 5th actually, we're going to have another management services webinar about school budget data reporting to increase the quality of the data, the quality and accuracy of the data that you report on the tax cap, the property tax report card, and school budget votes. This will help everyone save time by having the data more accurate, and you know that often these data go immediately to the press, so by increasing our accuracy, it can also help avoid embarrassing errors.
Okay, we actually have one more question.
All right, excellent.
Greg, this is from Anne Marie. Can we allocate a portion of PPS administrator and office staff salaries to the health and welfare numerator?
You guys are hitting me with good questions here. And that particular one, I want to talk to the people in the health area. I will absolutely get these answers back to you all hopefully by the end of the week. I appreciate your understanding on that. Just don't want to give out the wrong information.
All right. And we have a comment from Mr. Joe Dragone. He says, we definitely need a webinar devoted to the DOV guidance on the tax-free GEP when issued.
We'll do that. On the government efficiency plans, I think is what he is referring to. So yes, that's a very good suggestion.
Absolutely, and again, that's why I want to bring to your attention that dedicated email address. I think those are the questions that you need to get through to DOB. It's very important. Your questions are going to be very important. I think as they see more questions coming in, that's going to allow them to know that there is some real concern out there to get things rolling. So yeah, get your questions to them. But as things come through to us, rest assured, again, that's why I want everybody to look at our website. At least if you can take a look at it once a week, look at that latest information. That stuff will be the latest. Anything that pertains to that, we will address.
And I believe, Greg, you have an RSS feed as well, so you can sign up for that and then be notified when there has been an update.
Yes, and I'm sorry, that's a very good point. Yep. That's right there on the homepage, too, the RSS.
Okay, Matthew, any other questions that you have on your end?
No other questions.
Okay, excellent. Well, I really want to thank you, Greg. This has been hugely informative and helpful, and we do appreciate that you're there in the State Education Department and interfacing so well with New York State school districts on all of these important topics. So keep up the good work, and thank you very much for your presentation. And thanks to everyone who participated. I appreciate your time, and I hope this is worthwhile for you, and have a wonderful day.